just whenever we want to get started.
Okay, cool.
It's been a good week, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a really
Interesting
good week.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad we all managed to get here today, though.
Well, it doesn't help having that
we
going
walk?
on outside either, does it? Apologies for the
Lovely background noise.
for the sound. So just a little bit of background info. We're actually at Ewan's new gaff today, which he's moved in about 3-4 days ago.
Yeah, last week.
Last Friday, wasn't it?
Was it last Friday? It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
And
yeah, I think so. Yeah, last Friday. Yeah.
and the week that he's moved in, they've started digging up the bloody road outside. So yeah, apologies if you hear any digging or drilling outside.
2 seconds.
Yeah, so quite an eventful week, quite an eventful weekend. Ricky, you've just come back from London.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Take it you didn't drive up there.
No, I got the train actually. Luckily as well, because I would have had a job getting petrol when I diesel. In fact, diesel. I think can you still get petrol now?
It's a shortage on both.
Yeah, it's a shortage on both.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Last time I checked, diesel was running out more than
Diesel
petrol.
was, yeah. And have you seen the prices?
Mate, there's
Have the prices gone up now?
on Stafford
No.
Road. Yeah, there was one. Well, I think it was 153. I saw on Stafford. I couldn't believe that.
Gosh. Is there not a law against that where they have to keep it at a certain price?
Well, no, because it's like a commodity, isn't it? So it fluctuates based on supply and demand.
Right,
you know,
right.
Sugar, coffee, it's all the same.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's some people getting rich off this.
Oh
there?
mate, I'm telling you. And we went the other day. Notice every petrol station you go to now, none of them have got the normal petrol or the normal diesel.
Right.
It's all the V power or the
Because I know people are
Supreme.
desperate for it as well.
You know,
so they'll
people
pay
are
it.
desperate.
Yeah.
And we were talking the other day.
Yeah.
Right. How much of that? How often does that stuff get used as opposed to the normal
The
everyday?
V power.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what? I was going to
Supreme.
look into that the other day because when I went the other day to get petrol, I thought, right, because it was the best feeling in the world actually finally getting petrol. You know, you've been waiting around and it's like I've never been so happy to actually fill my tank up. So I'm sitting there like smug, and I thought actually I'm going to treat myself to a bit of V fuel, and then I thought to myself, what is actually the difference?
Well, apparently it's meant to be better for your engine.
Better for your
Right.
engine. Do you get more out of it as
You're
well?
meant to
'Cause
get.
I
It
think
keeps your
so.
engine clean, so it runs better and it's more economic. But I was just thinking the other day, they must have a surplus of that compared to the other fuel.
Yeah, of course.
So
of course.
how many of them are maybe thinking, look, this is a chance for us to get rid of some of this Supreme and this V power at an even more premium rate. Let's take advantage of it.
People will take anything at the moment, won't they? At the end of the day.
Mate, there's a bloke by me, and he was on about going around with a jerry can and a hose pipe and starting ciphering it out. I don't know if he was joking or not, but
going to people's cars?
Yeah, apparently that's what it's been on the
Wow.
old cars, where it's easy to get to the fuel tank.
Yeah.
Apparently that's what some people...
it will be
it's been
causing
happening in some
disruptions
areas.
across the country as well because, there must be kids that can't get delivered to school or taken to school and goods that can't be delivered. And
we don't realise how much... It's like last year when COVID hit and, we realised how much we take things like toilet paper.
I thought that whole thing was ridiculous.
Pasta.
Like, if you run out of toilet paper, you can just use a shower, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So for everyone to
or just
rush
do it
out,
Indian style with a Evian bottle on
yeah,
the side of the toilet.
exactly, yeah.
But
Really,
fuel, though,
you can do without toilet paper. So the whole thing with everyone running out to get toilet paper is ridiculous. Like
It's
people
happening again though now,
Oh, what people are getting toilet paper?
Yeah.
Buying toilet
Really?
paper.
Yeah,
Right.
I was
He definitely needs
Oh,
it as well.
He does,
Once you get to know this guy.
yeah, I can see why he
Yeah.
last year.
I've got healthy bowels.
But I was in the supermarket the other day, and you're starting seeing people
start stocking
up again.
Turkeys is another one.
That's going to be the big thing,
Yeah.
Christmas.
Everyone's rushing to get turkeys.
But people are, and it's like
you can't do without turkey on Christmas Day.
Apparently, there's going to be a wine shortage as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
there's going to be
There'll be all sorts.
there'll be all sorts of
shortage.
shortage. But I think there's two ways you can look at it. There's one way where you can say, oh, it's a shortage, everything's booked and all that sort of stuff. Or we can do kind of like what we did last year, where we realised that actually we don't need half the shit that we buy. We don't need half the shit that we eat. Right? We don't actually need to. I mean, maybe people will learn now as well. They don't need to be driving so much.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
can you walk to the shop instead of getting in the car?
Yeah.
Can you maybe walk to work, or get a lift with someone to work, or get your bike? I mean, mate of mine by me, he's getting his bike out now. You know, and he's a weightlifting guy. He's a big guy. He doesn't do cardio, but he's like, look, at the end of the day,
mate. Good idea.
It's a good idea, but it's a little bit more difficult if you've got 4 kids to, or like, yourself, and obviously,
of course.
But I do feel like, you know what I've been thinking. Obviously, they've whacked the price up of fuel, haven't they? I can't see it coming back now. I almost feel like they're just going to leave it there.
Mate, this could be like
the
whole reason why they've done it.
I was going to say there is that.
The new norm,
you know, they say that
around the 160 mark.
I was reading something where they say like the increase in fuel prices is usually the trigger for a recession. So obviously it's not the only trigger. Like there's all like sorts of like fragility within the economy, whatever.
Yeah.
But that is often the trigger to actually, because if you think about it, petrol is like everybody needs to get petrol to get around. The majority of people are buying petrol on a like weekly basis.
Yeah.
If that all of a sudden goes up by 30%, you know, then that can in itself be a trigger to put people in.
Of course, because it's not just the cars on the road. It's like building, it's deliveries, it's the building sector for all the what you call it, the diggers and the JCBs and all that sort of stuff.
Everything's reliant.
Even like lawnmowers and chainsaws and things like that. It's all petrol.
Yeah, and to be fair, like a recession right now wouldn't surprise me. Like I actually think that something's got to come.
Post-COVID, we've all expected it.
Well, with all the money that they've lent, and they're going to be they're going to be wanting it to come back in either taxation or, you know, obviously paying back bounce back loans or whatever that people had.
Well, Labour are now talking about trying to revive the high street, and
which is that ever going to happen? Do you think?
Well, they've put this thing in place now where they've put a
business rates or something.
They've scrapped business rates, right? And in order to make that up, they're going to now impose higher tax hikes on online companies.
Yeah.
Right?
Have you saw that though? Amazon are at that bracket though. Did you see that?
Are they?
Yeah. So basically, there's a rule where it's like, right. Let me get this right now. You know how bad I am at relaying information, but
pull that shit up, Jamie.
Yeah, but basically, it comes on the lines of online companies want to get taxed more, but if your profits fall below 10% of the revenue you're making,
profit margin,
that's it, something like that. So if your profit margins are only 10% of your revenue, you actually don't need to pay, and Amazon actually falls into that bracket. So obviously it's on a massive, huge profits, but they actually still only make 10% on the
because
revenue.
They're all about volume, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things that are sold on Amazon, they make a loss on.
Amazon,
the little things that if you're buying dental floss, right?
Yeah.
On Prime for like £1.50.
Yeah.
And it's next day delivery.
Yeah.
They ain't making money on that.
No.
But who goes on and just orders dental floss?
Yeah.
You know, you go on, you order dental floss, but you also order like, you know, something for your laptop and something for your kitchen or whatever, and then the order gets.
It's clever, really. Yeah, really clever. Right. I mean, So from the article I read, Boris Johnson.
Mate, what would I put in?
Put in Boris Johnson meets Jeff Bezos to talk about taxation, and apparently, like Jeff Bezos turns up like half an hour late, jokes about how hard it is to get here in traffic, and he says, "I hope that's the hardest part of my day now," because he knew he was coming to get grilled on taxation. And then apparently it was like there wasn't really much said by Boris Johnson, and kind of came out at the end of it like. Not really.
Do you think that
putting any pressure on at all?
I mean, what do you think about taxing the 1%? Or taxing these big corporations? Because isn't it sort of already priced in with regards to how many people they employ, how much money they pay in PAYE, and VAT and all that sort of stuff?
I think it's a bit of a slippery slope to suggest that just because you're providing jobs, basically that automatically allows you to kind of, not pay tax on the billions you're making because you provide. Like I could provide a job for you two today, and I could say, well, you can come and work with me. I'll pay you, very, very small means, but at least I'm providing you with a job. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like something like Amazon has taken. I'm not saying it's providing jobs, but it's also taking away jobs as well. Like think of high streets, think of middle class. Business players that before were like middle class people with businesses on the high street, and all of a sudden they haven't got their business anymore, And the only way really to probably, try and have a part of Amazon is to buy shares in Amazon. But, if you've already missed that boat now and your business is failing, you haven't got the money to put in, then you're kind of out of it now, aren't you? And there's not really... So, I don't know, I think the 1% should be made to...
As well with Amazon, because they've become such a household brand, haven't they? In one respect, like...
Amazon have just...
I try my best to stay away from Amazon, but just how easy it is. And the next day delivery as well.
But one thing I'll say about Amazon is I feel like they've upped their prices a lot. You go on Amazon, you can get things like decent, like headphones. You can pick up a nice pair for like 20 quid, which is great. But I mean, I've been on recently and I've looked at some of the prices, and like Julian wanted a yellow tractor, sorry, and he kept going on about yellow tractor because he lost his one. In fact, it was when we were in Telford that time, and that other little kid had it, and we saw him walking past a bit.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go over to the kid and be like, "Oh, that's Julian's truck" or whatever. So I was just like, "We'll get him another one." So anyway, he was on about his truck after, and I went on Amazon. £15 was the cheapest one I could find on Amazon for a truck, and I went into Sainsbury's, got them for £4. So I do think now they've started to like certain items, because sometimes when it's online as well, it's almost like, because it's just a figure of like, click, 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 at
Comes
the
out
end,
your
pay.
bank. You don't see the money.
You don't see the money. Yeah. So it's almost just like, all right, and also convenience. People pay a lot for convenience. So I almost feel like they're kind of in certain areas increasing prices, and like and people will pay it just because it's convenient. And also, I mean, we've always been very like, our moms always look out for the best price. But some people just like, okay, he wants a truck, I'll go online, boom, click, done. All right, it's at the door like tomorrow.
Yeah.
And in some respects, I can understand why people do that. I remember when I think COVID.
I want to pause it a sec, just when they come through.
Yeah. I think COVID had just come out of lockdown, and I was after an ink cartridge for my printer.
Yeah.
So I've gone to Curry's on like a retail park. I've queued to get in for about 45 minutes, I think. Then I've got in again. I've had to queue again, keeping social distance and all that, while someone was talking to one of the the people that work there, the staff. Finally got to the guy at the till, and I've said, so I'm looking for an ink cartridge, whatever the ink cartridge was, and it was sold out of stock. So he basically suggested to me go online and just order one from Amazon. So and this, to be fair, like this was a point where I didn't really use Amazon too much. I always catch on to things fairly late. Like I know Alice used it and whatever, but so like for some reason it didn't occur to me in the first place, and I almost got home, typed it in, clicked it, and it was at my door the next day, and I just thought, well, why didn't you do that in the first place? And so I can see why people actually.
But you've got to find that balance with this whole online thing. They have to find the balance, because here's the thing, they reckon that by like 2030, I think 70% of people aren't going to have a job, or aren't going to have the job that that they've got now. Now, the only thing that's wrong, the problem with that is that Amazon and Google and all these online companies, if they're taking out these smaller companies, it's going to get to a point where once people are out of work and they haven't got any disposable income, how are they going to buy things off Amazon? How are they going to,
And then you beg the question: if they've got no money to buy things, are they valuable to corporations anymore? And are they going to do something to, like, this is where this whole depopulation comes into it. Like, it's obviously like, it's one of those things like, to a lot of these corporations, humans are just resources, and if humans aren't able to work for them or spend with them, there's going to come a point where it's almost like the corporations or whatever, the people that are effectively running the world, or what a lot of people believe, the elites. It's gonna be a case of, well, we've actually got no need for these people anymore. We've got robots and such and so forth. So it's a scary.
It is, but
prospect, really.
I'm only talking on a small scale here, right? But obviously, I was a teacher before. Before I went into the world of sales and marketing and whatever, I was a teacher for nearly 12 years. And when I was teaching, the big thing that was being bandied around was, slowly making a certain percentage of every course online.
Okay.
Right? And there was a big worry because, 20% of a course was online. That means that course doesn't need 20% of a teacher.
Right.
And when you take that across an establishment, that's quite a lot of people losing hours.
Right.
So there was this big thing, and it, in hindsight, it was a good thing to do because it meant that everyone was prepared for COVID.
Right.
But what everybody's learnt over COVID and what people learnt when we started implementing it was you just can't replace that human element.
True.
And, especially in teaching,
yeah,
if it was as easy as everybody just being able to go online and learn something, then everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why, education, the institution of education has been around for thousands of years because we need that human element. We need to be able to question our teachers. We need to be able to have that Socratic questioning, that being able to delve deeper.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to find with industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you can get robots to replace them, whatever, but actually, number one, you do need the physical businesses because they keep the economy going, especially for the online companies. But two, people need that human element.
Yeah, yeah, and you're always going to have jobs that require like waitressing, plastering, electronic, electrics.
But even all those manual jobs now, they are looking for ways to be able to replace it.
Really, yeah.
Sort of like self-serve. They're coming up with you've got a daughter. She watches Cat and Sam.
Yeah.
And they go to that cafe, and they've got the robots that bring them the food.
Yeah. Right.
They're trying to do that's what they're trying to develop now.
Why? What for? Can't
Amazon
are
already because
to cut costs or what?
Cut costs and improve efficiency. You've got a robot doing the work for you. You've got a robot who never goes sick, doesn't need to be paid, doesn't have any emotional baggage that comes with him. He's never rude, never gets the order wrong.
Yeah.
Never gets the change wrong, never gets the price wrong.
Yeah.
And can literally work 24/7 round the clock.
Yeah.
So for a corporation, it's great, but I'll tell you this, me as the customer, I wouldn't want to live in a world where I'm faced with robots everywhere I go.
Well, I mean, it would be a gradual process, wouldn't it? So, and you wouldn't necessarily see them if they're the people kind of, I don't know, sorting out your packages at Amazon. Oh, you're on about in terms of serving food.
I'm talking about
But if let's say it's all of a sudden instead of charging, £20 for a meal now, you could charge 15. The majority of people would just be like, oh, let's go there because it's great food and it's cheap.
But what's the likelihood of them doing that? What's the likelihood of them? It's like what you just said. Now that petrol's gone up to where it's gone up, same as the building industry. I sell for the building game.
Yeah.
And before COVID, we were looking at like 23p, 24p a brick.
Yeah.
Now you're looking like 90p a brick. Will that ever go back down? No.
Well,
it's definitely not going to go back down to what it was at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah. I think how it would work initially was the people that had the robots working in the restaurants would maybe do it like reduce their prices to encourage people to come and and actually people might as a novelty might say, wow, there's this cool restaurant that have got robots and they serve you food and and let's face it, I was in a restaurant the other day when I went down to London for to sort a sideboard out and to see a few mates and whatever, and we had this waitress just in the cafe the next day, and she was quite rude and and I'm assuming if they did create robots, they'd all be very friendly. They'd probably be taught to tell, a joke here and there. And not that I want a joke from my waitress, but what I'm saying is I'm assuming they'd be taught to wait almost perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. There's no replacing the human element. Don't get me wrong, but what I am saying is sometimes. I mean, I think if they did create robots to do this job, I think people would be like, okay, let's try it out and see how we get on with him, and I don't imagine the robots would do a bad job.
No. Yeah.
So
it's definitely food for thought. It's going that way.
Yeah.
There's no denying it.
But also, if you look throughout the course of history, right, we've always had these kind of jobs are going this, that, but there's always been new industries, new kind of, and if you look over the course of if you compare our living standards now to 300 years ago or 1,000 years ago, there's no denying that we're living a lot more comfortably now. I mean, in the Western world, I can only speak on how we're living personally, but everyone's got heating. The majority of people have got heating, gas, electric, water. We've got good road links. good transport systems. So it's almost like, yes, technology is constantly evolving, but is it necessarily a bad thing? And
it's not from a practical point of view, but what concerns me, and we're probably going to quite deep here, is, you know, we don't know what the long-term effects on our health are of all these new technologies. I mean, you know, you got to think about it. At any one time, how many signals and wavelengths are running through your body? Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all these different electric signals are constantly going through your body. 5G now, there's a big controversy about 5G.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that concerns me is because it's so new.
Yeah.
You know, it's been around for like what 20 years really.
Yeah.
I think Bluetooth started like in the early 2000s and Wi-Fi took off. We don't really know what the long term effects
well,
are.
I think we're almost beginning to find out, because there's a strong correlation between poor mental health and, you know, the rise of technology and internet and whatever, and whether that's people spending too much time on social media, or it could be something to do with the frequencies that they're receiving. And, you know, because we are all kind of running on impulses, aren't we? Like, we're all kind of...
We're electrical beings.
Yeah, electrical beings, yeah. So it's got to affect us in some way.
It has to. It can't be totally devoid of any risk.
No. And also, haven't cancer rates gone up quite substantially since...
I think cancer rates have gone up. More people are surviving from cancer.
Yeah.
Because of technology and medicine.
Yeah.
But, you know, cancer rates have gone up. But then it's like, is that due to poorer lifestyle choices as well?
Yeah.
You know, so many food additives, processed food, smoking, drinking, drugs, late nights, all that sort of stuff. So, you know, unless you've got the hard data, you're never really going to know, are you?
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that you need to be aware of. Ewan's back now. He's just been for a shower. No, he's just had a fridge delivered. So, as we said, he has just only moved into his house. So, yeah, it's always the way. Once you get started,
I know, mate.
That's when they decide to turn up, even though you've been waiting since what? This morning for him.
Yeah, since like 8 o'clock this morning.
So
Sod's law, eh?
Exactly. But what we were just talking about was, like, you know, we were talking about technology and sort of how that's affecting everything.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you know, one of the big disrupting technologies.
Oh, sorry, Ricky.
Oh, all right, mate.
See you out there, mate.
I think one of the big disrupting technologies that we're going to see of our lifetime is going to be crypto. Cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and blockchain.
And, you know, we're blockchain. We're all big into crypto, and, you know, I think that's going to be definitely a different way that we look at money.
Yeah.
You know, just like Amazon's a different way that we look at shopping and all that sort of stuff. This is going to be a different way that we look at money.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think.
I mean, what's happened recently though, because more so kind of you boys are bigger into your crypto than myself, and only this week I heard on the radio the other day, I was plastering, they were saying something about China and banning all cryptocurrency. So
what's happened is that, I mean, you know, China seemed to have put like what seems to be the 100th ban on crypto. And this time what they've done is they've basically turned around and said that their citizens, it's illegal for their citizens to trade any crypto, and it's also illegal for any exchanges to interact with any of their citizens. But the interesting thing is that they've banned the trading of crypto, but they haven't banned the holding of crypto.
Right.
Now, for me, that's kind of like, you know, let's think about when England banned guns. They didn't say, right, we're going to ban guns. You can't have guns on the street, but you can keep them in your house.
Yeah.
You know, it was a blanket ban. And there's usually an amnesty where they say, right, you've got this much time to hand your guns in, and then it's banned.
Yeah.
But the fact that China have said, well, we're going to allow you to hold them, but you can't trade them, for me that shows that they've obviously got something planned further down the line.
Yeah, it's either that or, I mean, at this point, I think there's a lot of market manipulation going on because it's not regulated, and and also it's like, you imagine whenever there's money at stake and you've got like, I mean, I'm assuming there's billionaires, in crypto, like people holding billions worth of crypto. Now, you could have some billionaires that are maybe, I mean, I always look very deep, but my theory is when there's a lot of money at stake, you're going to get up to the highest of kind of like establishments, and so it could well be that like China are the ones that always release what we call the FUD, yeah, and
fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yeah, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Yeah, and so basically, you've got people that are wanting the price to fall at a certain period of time, so they will release the FUD at that period of time, and it could all be organised. You could have all these like billionaires that say, right, we want the price to get to such and such a level now. There's no regulation. You release this and say you're banning it, and then we'll rebuy at such and such a level. And and really, I think at this point, I think that could definitely be going on. There could be a lot of market manipulation going on where people are just kind of trade, like making tons and tons of money from, and then this media outlet, because I mean we know media outlets are owned by large, very rich, wealthy people.
Yeah.
So what's to stop them from just saying, okay, well, let's have this media outlet, really, really talk badly about Bitcoin, and cause the price to drop, and then we'll load up at the bottom, and then we'll start releasing a lot of good things about Bitcoin, like stuff. I mean, it happens on Twitter just on a very small scale, people with 10,000 followers.
Well, it was.
Yeah.
But now it is. I mean, they used to, when I first got into crypto in 2019.
Yeah.
When you used to see Bitcoin or crypto being mentioned in an article or on the news, you'd be like, wow, it's like seeing your mate on TV sort of thing, because you never see it. Now, there's articles every single day being released about it, and it is getting more broader now. There does seem to be a campaign. Elon Musk did that famous tweet back in March and crashed the whole economy, well, the whole crypto economy. And then all we were seeing was just FUD from the media every single day. But then it's almost, I remember having this conversation with you, it's almost like overnight, it just went from being negative to just positive.
At this point, could it be a case of the elites are trying to accumulate as much crypto and as much, as they can, because they know it's the future of, finance. So they're trying to accumulate as much as they can, so that eventually it's a way of them kind of controlling the financial systems because they're effectively late to the game, weren't they?
They were late to the game because at first they saw crypto as a joke. Yeah. They saw it as like, it's not real money, it's not a real financial system. It's a load of like, overweight computer nerds sitting at the desk drinking Red Bull and coming up with these fancy names for these tokens.
Gone from Pornhub to crypto.
Exactly, yeah, well.
What a transition.
They're transitioning back and forth, really. They've got to have a break, haven't they, now and again. But, so it's gone from being a joke to now being, Bitcoin's like a $1 trillion market cap, isn't it? Over $1 trillion market cap, right?
Bitcoin, not at the moment, though, is it? I think it was.
At its height it was. It's not far though, is it? I think it's 800 something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So it's close to $1 trillion market cap.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most traded assets in the world now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In terms of like velocity, how much it's exchanging hands. So they are late to the game, but the problem for them with crypto is crypto can't be, it's infallible. It can't be manipulated in itself. The blockchain can't be manipulated. The blockchain moves in one direction. You can't change anything that's on the blockchain. So they have to come up with some really creative ways in order to be able to manipulate the market.
Yeah.
It's not like with standard fiat, which is normal money, where they can just print more money, and inflation occurs.
Yeah.
This is where the tokenomics are set in place for each crypto. So they have to come up with other ways that they can manipulate it.
Because there's only ever going to be a certain amount of each
token. So
yeah.
But some of these cryptos that you can get into now, there's a big thing called DeFi, decentralized finance, which is basically sort of the way the financial system works now. It's kind of creating a decentralized network that us as the people, we get the rewards from it rather than the big bankers getting it. We get the rewards.
Yeah.
And we're invested in some companies which give really good APY,
Yeah,
right, annual returns. And you do look at it sometimes and you're like, is this too good to be true?
Yeah.
But I almost feel like we've been conditioned because to the banks who are giving us 0.6% interest a year.
Is it even that high at the moment? I don't
It's
think it's that
probably
high, is
less
it?
now. I mean,
Weren't they talking about taking it negative?
Negative. Well,
So
it is
you
in
actually have to
Germany.
pay
I
the
think
bank.
it is in
Is it?
Germany,
Yeah.
in some
So you have to
European.
pay the bank to
You
look
pay the
after
bank
your
to
money.
hold your money, basically.
Yeah.
Oh my
right?
gosh,
yeah,
I wasn't even
So,
aware of
yeah.
that.
Which,
Really?
Yeah, I mean, people would
That's
probably do
crazy,
because
isn't
you wouldn't
it?
want to leave all your money
Well,
in your house. So you'd have to.
Of course,
You'd almost have to.
of course.
Otherwise, yeah.
Right.
You're kind of forced, aren't you? Your hands are tied.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you gonna
And
do,
look
put-
at how many places
put
you go
millions
to
under a
now.
mattress.
But it's not
Exactly.
fair though because banks use your money when they're, they don't just sit it. They use your money
And
to
this
make
is the
more
thing.
money.
And look
from.
at how many places now you go to,
Yeah.
and it's cash. It's card only.
Cashless, yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to have a bank account.
Yeah,
But
true,
the reason I was saying that is we've been conditioned into sort of being used to these really shit rates that the bank give us.
Yeah.
So when we see something that's like 10, 12, 20% a year, that's what some of these projects are offering in crypto, we think, well, how is that sustainable? But of course it is, because there's no Billy Big Bollocks at the top taking obscene multi-million pound bonuses at the end of the year. It's all redistributed to the people and back to the network, and it just keeps that ecosystem running.
And suddenly, I think you become skeptic, don't you? Initially, and you think, "Oh, it must be a scam. It must be a scam because who's giving out 10%?"
And to be fair, there are a lot of scams
There
around
are a
in
lot of
crypto.
scams.
So
There are.
Yeah, there
also
are.
be aware.
And that's
there's-
why you do, and that's why you should look at it like that.
Yeah.
But I think I still speak to a lot of, call them old timers, yeah. And when you mention that, they ask what you do, and I'm like, yeah, I do sales, I do marketing, and I also do crypto investing, and they kind of look at you like as if to say, yeah, but it's not real money. The amount of times where it's not real money, or it's all a scam, isn't it? Or it's all a pyramid.
And to be fair, I'd say probably 99% of the projects being created right now probably
I'd
will
probably
end
say,
up.
90 to 95. There's probably going to be less than 5% that
Yeah.
are going to be left standing at the end.
Yeah.
Especially now that regulation's coming into play.
Yeah.
A lot of these companies, these projects are going to get caught out, just like XRP are now.
Yeah.
They were like one of the first ones of the 2017 ICO craze.
Yeah.
Loads of people got into it, and there's still loads of people. It's almost like a cult. XRP.
Yeah.
But they have got this big case with the SEC that is because they didn't come at it from a regulation.
So
first.
I'm not aware of this. So is XRP? Is that actually a scam? Is it?
No, it's not a scam. The actual tech that they've got is brilliant, right? They've got proprietary tech that super fast transactions, low fees, all that sort of stuff. But they've had this case going on now for about 2 years with the SEC, because they weren't regulated. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of basically when they raised funds for the ICO. They weren't as upfront about what they were doing with the funds and all that sort of stuff. But the thing that, I watched a video on it the other day, XRP, and the thing is, Ripple Labs, the people who've come up with the technology, that technology is patented, right? And it's working. So actually, they could get rid of XRP tomorrow and start a new governance token, and that technology is fine. It'll just continue.
Right.
XRP in itself, the token, isn't fundamental to using that technology.
Right.
So really, if worse came to the worst and the SEC did, put some sort of an injunction or say make a ruling about XRP, Ripple themselves, they'd still have the technology and they just create another governance token, but this time to compliance.
Right.
So, but yeah, anyway, like we were saying,
yeah,
there's a lot of these companies who aren't coming from a regulation first standpoint.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They are going to get caught. And
Yeah.
rightly so, because if the space is going to grow,
It does need to be regulated.
It does need to be regulated.
Of course.
And I know we love it because it's decentralized and it's, there's no big entities who are getting involved and manipulating it. But at the same time, that does leave the back door open for somebody else to come in and do these scams and manipulation at a smaller scale.
People will always exploit these situations, won't they? Yeah, of course.
But, you know, just like we were saying about innovation, whatever, you know, anybody who's watching this now who isn't at least looking into crypto and getting their head around it, you know, you are missing out on what I believe anyway to be like the dawn of a very, very big opportunity for everybody. And also, like, I think people need to be aware that crypto is not just like, you know, Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin is designed to be a store of value, or, you know, it's basically an online currency. But not all of these cryptos are necessarily online currencies. Like, so, like, there's different uses to the blockchain, which is effectively what crypto is, isn't it? Everything's on a blockchain. You've got tokenomics, and, you know, there's only a certain amount of tokens that can be created, and it's all put on like NFTs as well, non-fungible tokens, smart contracts. So like blockchain as a technology is so vast, and there's so many uses for it as well. I'm in a company at the moment where they're using the Egyptian. They've just got a contract with the Egyptian government. They're going to be using, it's called CXO. They're going to be using their blockchain to basically monitor all the cargo coming in and out of Egypt. And you can do the same with like.
Is it a pyramid scheme?
Nah, this one's not. Nice, but you can do the same with like food supplies as well. Put it on a blockchain so you know exactly when it left, when it arrived, and there can be no.
That's FET, FET, fetch. They're working on the food.
There's a couple
one.
doing it. I think
you've got,
food as well.
You know, you've got some. What was that one? Car.
So there's so much more.
Well, so car anomaly is putting car sales on the blockchain. So you know exactly when the car was bought, when it was sold, who owned it. It's all on the blockchain. It can't be manipulated. And the finance is on there as well. So what they're doing is, you go for finance now, you're getting it from like, you know, Black Horse, Lloyd's, This way, you can go and the people who've given to who've staked their tokens to Car Anomaly. People who stake their tokens to Car Anomaly, they're basically providing the finance for the car. And then when the person pays it back, they get a percentage of it rather than the finance companies getting the interest. Right. It's the same with like flash loans and lending. Loans, So there's EQZ. You get a flash loan. You basically stake your money in the project, and you effectively are helping people get loans. And then you get the interest rather than the bank. There's loads of use cases for it. It's almost like... It's like a revolution, isn't it? It's like a way of people collectively putting their money together and say, look, it's like, okay, so like if someone comes to us now, like they can either go to the bank, borrow 30 grand and pay 10% interest a year, or, you know, bridging loan, let's say, and they're trying to do up a house and they've got to pay 20% interest for the year. Or you could come to us now and say, well, actually, can we borrow 30 grand and I'll give you 20% at the end of the year? But the only difference is this is through a proper company where it's on a blockchain through tokenomics, where, you know what I mean, so there's the blockchain is infallible. Like, no one, once it's on the blockchain, no one can go in and tweak it, and, you know, and there's no denying that they've borrowed that money, or there's no denying. You are accountable for it, and that's it. It's on the blockchain. So it's almost like a bridge away from banks to actually the power of the people and everybody pooling their money together. And a lot of these things are actually called pools, which is you know, quite fitting. So you pool your money together and you can be the people kind of doing the lending and doing the, you know, and also getting more access to being able to borrow. Kind of like a building society. You know how a building society is like the people who've invested in the building society, you get better rates of interest, don't you, in a building society, because, you know, it's community lending.
There's so much more, isn't there, to find out.
Unbelievable, mate.
Like there's so much more under the surface to do with crypto, and I know.
And finance in general as well. We're going to be touching on that, aren't we?
We will speak about
it. Yeah. I think we're actually getting quite close towards the end because we've got to go. Well, I've got to go at 3.
Okay, so we need to
school run
before we finish it. We do need to talk about the events of the weekend. Can we talk about Usyk's interview first of all?
What an interview!
What a
inspirational, like to say the least, isn't it?
Let's take a look right now.
Let's have a look now. Yeah, can we show him? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Alexander, how do you feel? Heavyweight champion of the world.
I'm very few.
What's that?
Heavyweight champions.
How good was that?
I mean, honestly, it's
tear to
the eye there.
But you know, he actually
Tony Robbins, eat your heart out.
That wasn't the first time he'd done it. Like when I first watched it, I just thought he was just like, he didn't know. But apparently that's like a thing he does. Like I watched another interview and there's loads of interviews where it's like, how do you feel? It's like, I'm very feel. And then like but he'll do it in different tones.
You can just imagine, like, you know, he's in the waiting room. You know, Usyk, you've just had a boy, you've just had a girl, and that's his reaction.
Yeah. How do you feel? Yeah, I'm
I
feel.
feel.
I'm very
But
feel.
like how
In one, he goes, I'm feel. I'm very feel. But he knows what he's doing as well. Like, there's a couple, like sometimes he keeps it so serious you've got no idea that he doesn't know what he's on about. But other times, like, he'll have a little smile. After
how like intimidating must that be for the
The journalist is like, right, okay, Anthony Joshua.
But no,
it's
what a
Brilliant
performance
fight.
though.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, brilliant performance. But I've always like, I've kind of seen it coming, and I think we all have, haven't we? Like, I do feel like even though Anthony Joshua, great sportsman,
Great personality.
yeah, okay personality. I wouldn't say great. I think Tyson Fury is a great
He's
person.
not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But he's very marketable.
Yeah,
He's marketable. Yeah,
He's vanilla. I've always said it. He's vanilla, isn't he?
And he's won over the nation, hasn't he?
He's won over that, and to be fair, he's probably a good role model for a lot of kids and whatever. You know, you got to give him his props and all that. But in terms of personalities, I think he's a little bit, like you say, vanilla.
It just seems, and it does seem a bit fake, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it does. It almost seems scripted. You know, we go again, and I hate the idea of still learning. It's like, hang on a minute, you what?
You're meant to be
30
top
years
of your
old
game.
now. You're top of the game, and you're trying to claim that you're still learning.
Exactly.
Tyson Fury's only a year older than Anthony Joshua. And yet, no one ever talks about, Tyson Fury's still learning, or, it's like, you've got to come to a point where actually you've got to boss it now.
If you said that he was still learning. 100%.
But this is why I feel like with Joshua, he's the nation's favourite, isn't he? When it comes to heavyweight boxers, or probably boxing in general.
Although I've seen that trend, like a lot of people I speak to now, it's like, I'm not too keen on Joshua, I love Tyson Fury. I feel like that's kind of switching a little bit.
A little bit more.
Well,
definitely, I think people see through it a bit now.
I was speaking to someone yesterday who, before Saturday, was like, really, they were all Anthony Joshua, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Liked Anthony Joshua. And then his ring entrance just totally put them off.
Oh really? What was his ring entrance?
It was because
it was a bit blurry at this point when I was watching.
It was very
couldn't see most of it.
It was very felt staged. It was very like, it was kind of like he was coming out to his 30th birthday sort of thing.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
And he just didn't seem like, it seemed like it was the Anthony Joshua show.
Yeah.
He's touching gloves and he's laughing and it just seemed very arrogant, or me.
Yeah.
It didn't look like you were going in there with the mindset that you're going to be in the ring with a Ukrainian.
Mate, remember when Mike Tyson used to walk to the ring? Like, it was just like, wow, like, you could see him going in there to do damage, you know what I mean? You don't get that.
But he had, Mike Tyson, like, just before, when he was in his changing room, he would have had some sort of hypnosis. So he was almost in a state. There was talk that like backstage he would be under a state of hypnosis, and someone would be saying to him like, "You're a killer, doing this, etc." And that's why a lot of the time when he was walking to the ring, he had that killer face on him. Yeah. He was focused.
But he'd imagine that these people had done something terrible to his family, and he was like. Whereas I almost feel like Anthony Joshua, like he's trying to be too nice, and all this, and it's like
too much respect.
Yeah.
But to the point where it all. From what I feel like it's almost like, you're going in there with a killer. Yeah. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to like be all friendly with him to soften him up, so that maybe he goes in there and doesn't do a number on you, or doesn't
possibly
act like a killer, because he's never shown that killer instinct.
Yeah.
So I think what he tries to do is he tries to, rather than get to their level and become like, get in that mindset that they're in.
Yeah.
He tries to get them into his mindset.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we're friends, it's all
and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I was expecting to see a bigger like size difference between the two. But from what I remember, I almost feel like Anthony Joshua's like trimmed up a little bit too much probably as well, and kind of lost his edge. Like over Usyk. Usyk's quality boxer, always been technically brilliant. Like, I almost feel like Anthony Joshua should have piled on a bit of weight.
I think he did compared to the second Ruiz fight.
Oh, did he?
Because in the obviously, first Ruiz fight, he was big, bulky, and then he trimmed down. And he kept him at arm's length for the jab, etc. But compared to the second Ruiz fight, he had bulked up again. But the difficulty is he kept letting Usyk get in the inside, and Joshua uses his reach, doesn't he? He uses them long limbs of him.
But Usyk, to say he's come up a weight as well. I mean, usually when you go up from your natural weight that you walk around, it usually makes you sluggish.
Of course, mate.
Mate, the guy was moving like a lightweight.
Unbelievable.
Mate, he's something else.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was just he made it look like he was sparring him.
Yeah.
Made it look like it was just like you know, I don't want to say tit for tat because that implies that he wasn't putting any sting in it.
Yeah,
But he did make it look just like
picking him apart.
He was picking him apart.
Yeah.
You know, like he was one of his sparring partners and he was getting ready for the fight.
And then we've got that controversial bell ring in the 12th round.
I
apparently
counted
it's-
7 seconds.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Mate, and 7 seconds, like if you actually put that into context, what he would have done in those 7 seconds.
Right.
Like Joshua, he was on the ropes and he was wobbling.
Yeah.
You could see that. If he's got 7 more seconds, guaranteed he would have been on the floor. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Eddie
Do you
Hearn
reckon,
couldn't let
do you
that
reckon Eddie
happen.
Hearn just
Eddie
ran
Hearn
over him
couldn't let
and
that
started
happen.
ringing the
Maybe.
bell?
Give me the
You
bell!
know what? It might have, or
Did
he
you watch
might-
Eddie Hearn when he came out and he had a go at that guy when he was walking out the
Quality.
ring?
What a
Yeah,
guy.
that was quality. Yeah. Yeah, I do like Eddie Hearn.
He's a
mean,
character,
got
isn't he?
respect for him, yeah. I mean, he's done well.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of controversy as well because one of Anthony Joshua's trainers, Joby Clayton.
Okay, right.
He used to obviously. Me and my other brother, we used to do.
Because he's actually from Wolverhampton,
He's
isn't he?
from
Joby?
Wolverhampton, and we used to do Thai boxing. And,
Shout out.
Yeah.
I said shout out.
Shout out,
yeah.
and you know our brother Kerry, he got to a very high standard, and Joby was his.
Yeah.
Joby was
And
his
Joby's
trainer.
also trained Ben Whitaker.
Joby
well.
is Ben Whitaker's godfather.
Godfather, yeah. So he was kind of, yeah.
And so we know Joby quite well, but he's facing a bit of criticism because all through the fight, he was, shouting "brilliant, AJ."
Right.
But
was
we
it
know
Joby that was doing that?
Yeah,
Because I read an article about that. I didn't know. Was
Yeah,
it
it
Joby
was
saying that?
it was
brilliant?
Joby saying it, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
Because
he's
Joby's very like positive.
But he is
keep
like
positive.
that, you know. When you are
he is,
when he's in your corner
right.
and you're in a fight, even if you're not necessarily performing very well,
yeah.
he knows how important mindset is in a fight.
To keep positive.
So
and keep,
he will be saying, well, like when Keg used to fight,
Yeah.
even on a fight where Keg maybe seemed a little bit gassed out or whatever,
Yeah.
beautiful Bella, come on Bella, brilliant work.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
his
yeah.
style.
Yeah.
But he's getting a lot of criticism because they're saying basically,
At some point, you should have said, "Hang on a minute, this isn't going well."
Yeah.
So do you
this
think
now.
it
Or
kind
you're
of
giving him a
lured
false sense of-
AJ into
Yeah,
a false
yeah.
sense of security?
security, yeah.
Because, he's in that fighting mindset and he's just hearing from his corner, beautiful AJ, so he's probably thinking, okay,
Or a false sense of
just stick
achievement
to
as
what
well.
I'm
Like,
doing.
I'm
Exactly,
winning this
yeah.
fight. Maybe he thought he was winning it, and I don't
Because
need to
at
put
the
too much
end,
pressure
it
on.
did look like from his reaction
Yeah.
that he was surprised that he lost.
Oh, really? Did it?
Well, he sort of. What I saw, he's like kind of his mouth was like, and,
Yeah,
he looked, and then
okay,
he
right,
just
right.
walked off.
Yeah,
I also read
Didn't
that
even-
one of the rounds, one of the judges said that he won one of the rounds. I think round 8 as well.
I
Which
think they had
was-
him like round 5.
which
6
you
and
said
8.
clearly
there was
won, and the people are saying like these judges need
Yeah.
to get sacked off because
Yeah. Well, they had to. I mean, they had to make
him
it
maybe
look
some-
like.
I get it. It's
you know
in
what I mean?
Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? This
Yeah.
is the AJ show.
It was meant to be the AJ show.
Yeah,
It was
it
meant
became
to be.
the
He comes
Usyk
out,
show, didn't it? Yeah.
beats Usyk, goes on to Fury.
Because that's what he would have done if he'd have beat Usyk. At the end, he would have got given the mic. He would have called out Fury, and then there's even more.
Oh, that would have been. But you know what?
That would have been brilliant.
I'm
But I
looking
almost feel
forward-
like, is there any point now?
Oh no, there's not now. I think it's got to be Usyk Fury now.
100%.
Well, when Fury beats Wilder, I think it's going to be.
But they've got to have
Usyk
that
Fury.
rematch first, haven't they? Because there's a clause
Yeah,
in the
yeah. So
contract.
there'll be
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
the
then,
Wilder
to be honest,
stuff.
it's not looking likely that Fury and Josh are ever going to fight. To be
I
honest,
don't think.
And I think people realise now that Fury is just in a different category.
And the thing is there so much excitement and anticipation for it now?
Nah, not as much
Like,
as there was,
whereas
but
before-
I would still love to see.
Oh, yeah.
I think the build-up would be great as well.
Yeah.
I think I'd love to just see him, at the face-off, just.
It would just be a shame if there was not an end to that saga.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, I
Yeah,
almost feel like
yeah.
it'd just be nice to see. Let's see
Yeah,
him fight,
yeah.
and also why not? It's a fight. Just flipping get in there and have a fight.
There's too much
let's
politics
see what goes
and
on.
too
Yeah,
much-
Oh,
massively.
so many,
Get in there and have
boxing,
a crack, and that's
unbelievable.
it.
Which is
isn't
why
it?
UFC has been doing so well because
course.
the best fight the best. There's no
There's
Yeah,
no hiding.
You've
There's
said
no,
it before. There's nowhere to hide in UFC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's one. It's one. What's the word? Governing body.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's no. It's not like boxing where you've got 5 or 6 different.
Yeah. And then
bodies.
once you become the champion, you've then got to defend your belt.
you have to defend
You've
it
got
against
against the next best.
Exactly.
And people want to see it, and if you don't make the fight, it's why wouldn't you make the fight? In UFC, there's no reason not to because they've got all the best fighters. It's like, well, if this person does beat this person, then he becomes the best, and that's how it should be. Whereas boxing's not like that because you've got people like Bob Arum doesn't want, say, Tyson Fury to fight this person because he knows that this person might actually stand a chance and he'll lose his loss, make his loss. And I think that's making boxing quite boring as well because everyone's going in there too worried about, picking up a loss. So it's very cagey, jab, cagey. Whereas like back in the day when Mike Tyson would go in and just be swinging from round one, you don't really get that too much anymore. No. And I think that's...
You've hit the nail on the head. Everybody's going in there with this mindset of like, if I lose, I'm losing the cash cow. I'm losing the cash cow, and everybody's fighting too safe. Yeah.
That's why, like, even though Chisora's lost quite a few times,
you got to give it.
Yeah, because he always goes into fight.
He does.
It's always entertaining, and
he's always a bit of a build-up.
I'm here for a scrap.
And he's entertaining as well. Yeah. And I would rather have that. To be fair, Anthony Joshua's fights are quite entertaining purely because he's got like a bit of a wobbly chin. So he can get wobbled, but he can also wobble people as well. So it is always a bit like, up and down, and and he's entertaining, So, you hats off to the guy, and it's a nice position to be in where you've got Usyk, Wilder, Fury, Joshua. Like, there's a few good fights to be made.
It seems like there's a little bit of a return to the heavyweight boxing division. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels that way.
It's nice.
Yeah. There's definitely some good fights to be made, but I do feel like boxing is more going towards
the circus route.
Like celebrities and stuff like that.
Jake Paul, and
I think boxing really needs some more big personalities to get. And Ben Whittaker actually from Wolves could be that guy as well. He's definitely got a big personality. He's a rapper and whatnot, and he's got the look and whatever. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sure there'll be people coming through the ranks, but But I think it's definitely going more towards celebrities and stuff like that. So
it's becoming a bit of a circus. It's more becoming about the show, isn't it now?
Yeah.
So
Right, shall we wrap that up there because I've got to actually make a move.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pleasure, boys.